Hey, what is going on, YouTube? Hey, Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, guys, we are in the Resistance, and oh, it feels good to be back. I actually took a slight break this weekend, not intentional, but I actually had food poisoning on Sunday or some other bug, man. I had some of the worst projectile vomiting. I know you guys need a detailed image of that, but without further ado, we are back, and we are in the Resistance, the newest copy and paste, reskin, pay to lose tier 6 ship added to Legends. I say pay to lose because the game before this I got absolutely obliterated, but this is a much better game, so this is obviously the one I'm going to choose to put on my YouTube channel. But here we immediately spawned on the left flank. We're going to go ahead and take this little angle out to try and get all of our guns on target. But the Resistance, it's a pretty fun ship. It's basically a Renown with longer range torpedoes and a sonar for slightly worse turret traverse. Now, a commander that will make all of these British battle cruisers better is the John Fisher commander, which is a little bit of a campaign, and I had planned on making a video of how to get him, but yeah, I just, trying to keep liquids down without, just having to sit over the toilet was pretty awful, so there's also a slight delay on that. But if you guys, haven't seen a few of my British battlecruiser videos, these ships are best played out on the flank here as we give a good job. I'm just going to be giving a good job to any, player who dies in 90 seconds. I mean, that's honestly impressive. Now, I will say the spawns, especially at the lower tiers, are a little messed up. But, yeah, man, you got to have a special kind of talent to be doing that. We should do some YouTube shorts or something like, compiling all the players that die in, record time. But anyway, here we have this Jervis pushing so, just insanely aggressive. I do respect him getting the cap, but brother, you don't need to win the game in the first 2 minutes. Also, he has no team support as all of his cruisers went around that island and that Mackinson is sitting back there. We're also missing a ship, as you can see on the mini-map there. It looks like a battleship is going around this island. And guys, I want to be completely fair. Like I said earlier, pay to lose. This ship is definitely not pay to win. It's not really pay to lose either, but I took this exact same flank in a tier 7 lobby, and I think that's going to be the difference maker in this ship is what kind of lobby you get placed in. If you get placed in a tier 6, tier 5, and 6 lobby, as I grossly overlead this shot, you're going to do great. If you get placed in a tier 7 lobby, you're going to get shit canned, and that's exactly what happened to me in the previous game. I went around that corner, faced a Nelson and a Bismarck, and got crossfired into oblivion. Now, I definitely pushed way too aggressive in that game. I didn't read the mini-map and take my own advice, and, well, I paid for the results. But here we lead correctly using the HE, and I'm going to be honest, the HE seems like it doesn't hit as hard as it should. Now, of course, we're dealing with, HE that has a pretty good fire chance. I think it's 34 on the Resistance, which is a little bit lower than the standard battle cruisers, but that's one of the balancing factors. That and your turret traverse is slightly worse on this ship. But keep in mind, I've got 2 fires now, and how many we end with, because I just remember spamming the Mackinson at the end of this game for just not the best results. So AP is definitely going to be your friend, although with a chunky ship like the Italian Caricciolo there, I probably should have waited till he opened up a little bit more angle to shoot, but alas, RNG is going to RNG. So here, though, we're turning out. Why? Because we don't want to turn, or we're turning in, rather, as opposed to turning out on him because of those ships in the middle there. They could crossfire us pretty good. We're kind of closing the angle here, and then we're going to open it back up to get the torpedoes off. But if you'll notice, we are getting absolutely chunked, even, at kind of silly angles there. But here, we're going to go ahead and launch our squiggly torpedoes, which, remember, the arming distance, you've got a little bit to go. And here's where the turret traverse actually hurt me a little bit, as we did get crossfired. I needed to get this salvo on. We end up kind of looking further back, and we still get a few hits there on the rear midsection. But with a decent little opening display here, we have, gotten 2 enemy ships off the board. So if you can get a paid actor and a destroyer to sail into your HE and then a paid actor in the Caricciolo, this pay-to-lose ship will be absolutely fantastic. I keep saying pay-to-lose as I'm putting on a pretty, great game, but I just feel like this is just a reskinned Renown with a Hydro and longer range torpedoes. I get that Wargaming has to sell ships and keep the lights on. There's just so much reskinned, and this, this most recent Azure Lane update was a perfect example of that. We have like 5 Miyokus, reskin Miyokus at tier 6, and it's just like, I get it, you can sell them, and they have different traits and stuff, but I'm just not a huge fan of that. But that's why I don't really do reviews on those ships. If you guys, I need to do a review on the Maya. That is actually one that's a little bit different. But this to me just feels like a reskin Renown. But when you get the paid actors like we mentioned to sail broadside to you, she can be pretty fantastic. Now that being said, we did put ourselves in a pretty decent position with some, I'd say average support that Shores did radar and try to shoot at the DD. But we don't have the whole team behind us to support us. But basically what I'm trying to say is we get a broadside Tennessee here is if you can kind of put yourself in the right spot, as with pretty much any ship, and you know your angles and your ship's capabilities, most ships, I'd say with all except for like one or two, with the Z-44 being one of them, you can do pretty well in this game. So if you're looking to spend like $60 on a ship that you need at tier 6 for a British battlecruiser with torpedoes, then this is your gal. Now again, I will say that you can get pretty much everything you can get out of this ship, you can get out of the Renown. The Hood is also a great tier 6 battlecruiser, and the Nelson is probably still one of my top picks for tier 6. I actually don't think, that's one of the only ships I don't have in this game is the Nelson, and then I think there's like one or two others. But definitely not a ship that is going to be setting any records anytime soon, although we do get a pretty good score in this game. It's just, honestly, this game, I explained it to somebody last night, it's like playing poker. If the cards fall in your favor, meaning you get decent teammates and a bad enemy team, it's a great day. If not, then yeah, you're getting effed and paying for it at the same time. So, and it's true because RNG is a factor in this game, which is sort of, I guess you could say, RNG in poker, right? Unfortunately, that Leander, fortunately and unfortunately, the Leander gets the kill on that Tennessee there. And this game is pretty much over. Enemy didn't want to develop any sort of crossfire or, any sort of advanced position. This Mackinson sat there spamming HE. So, of course, situations like that, you're going to lose. The games are pretty much getting more and more one-sided, but alas, we still are addicted to this game. And here is something, as we get the high caliber, I want you guys to pay attention to, because we started this engagement with 2 fires, and it just feels like RNG was definitely not on my side. For most of this engagement. And now, that being said, we did get a bunch of fires in the beginning, but after that, it just feels like we weren't getting any, and here's a great example of that. I think we land, 4 out of 6 for no fires. If my math is correct, every 3rd shell should be a fire, but hey, what do I know? I know it's per shell, and sometimes, of course, if you have a fire already on a ship and you hit that same fire chance is like a cube, right? You can actually miss the ship and still technically get a fire. That's how you get incapacitations and resets sometimes due to splash damage. But if there's a fire already on the midsection and you hit that midsection again, you can you will not get another fire on that. So that's why you guys will sometimes see me adjust my aim, of course, aiming for the bow, aiming for the stern, or that second midsection part if they are not running the, I forget what the perk is called, but sometimes it's like firefighter or something like that, where you can only have 1 fire on a ship. But there is the single fire, and of course, every German battleship player who spams HE at the back of the map is going to put out a single fire. So what we're going to do is keep the HE loaded and just try and lead our shots as we get double fired. Yes, very balanced RNG. I think I'm not sure what the fire chance on the Mackinson is, but I'm pretty sure these should be higher. Now here we actually do get a double fire, which is nice. So you're like, okay, fire chance is working as intended. That, or Wargaming is trying to subconsciously punish this Mackinson player for not understanding, not to put out 1 fire. He does, of course, have the quicker reloading damage cons, being a German battlecruiser, but yes, there is the 3rd and final fire we actually get of the game. So a quick 4 fires, and then none for the rest of this engagement. Now, AP is definitely an ammo choice you want to use, especially on cruisers, of course, getting the overpens on destroyers and broadside battleships. But again, I just feel like the HE should be a bit stronger, but, alas, one of those balancing factors. Going to go ahead and speed up the game here as this Mackinson gets another fire on me. As you can see, me just continually lobbing HE. Those 2 shells shattered, and then we get a few minor penetrations. I'm pretty sure these guys only have 1/6 penetration. I could be very wrong on that. I don't know. Someone, of course, is going to actually and comment for me. But again, just another salvo. We lob the island there. We actually miss, and that is when I just said, you know what, enough with this. I'm going to go and switch to the HE. or the AP rather, I'm sorry. And, you know, he is showing enough angle, and of course, battleships at tiers 5 and 6 don't really have enough armor to fully angle unless you're, you know, kind of removing that those top sides are very weak, and as well as the balanced stern plating, which is just something else I don't get about the Renown. The Renown has 26 millimeters of armor as we get all but 2 of this Mackinson's health, and this ship has a 16 millimeter plating, so definitely a balancing factor, but all of the British battlecruisers have really weak armor except for the Renown, so I don't know, just one of those unique factors. But let's go ahead and take a look at the final scoreboard here. A nice little 167,000, pretty good for tier 6, and a 3k base XP. 4 kills, just missed out on the Kraken. Not sure why I didn't get the Dreadnought either, but probably missed a little bit of that health at the end. Those super heals get you really going there. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the module stats and, of course, the commander guide. Like I mentioned, the John Fisher campaign is on the bottom. You can see it there. But I also wanted to include my other game, just to be, you know, for complete transparency. So 58,000 damage, and I got, like I said, I got absolutely wrecked. Almost all of that damage came from torpedoes, and you can see a terrible score from me. So when put in the right spots, the resistance can be fantastic, but when up-tiered, I think you're going to struggle a lot and not really enjoy the ship. But the modules, here we go, are aiming systems, of course, steering, as you do not have access to propulsion because it's British. You can run damage, but I don't really think you need it with the heals. And then, of course, concealment. I think the concealment is pretty good for these battle cruisers. You do get the longer range torpedoes, as we mentioned, but the stats, 53,500, the artillery, 3x2, 381s, 18.2 firing range there, 34% fire chance with the HE. Like we mentioned, I don't think we got it at the end there, but RNG is going to RNG. So make sure you're, you know, choosing the correct ammo type when necessary. AP on broadsides and, you know, cruisers and things that you can overmatch, as well as HE on other targets. Torpedoes, 8x1. They're in individual launchers. Even though the launchers are kind of stacked on one side, you get 4 on each side. 11-kilometer range, though, that is kind of one of those selling points of this ship. People just seem to love torpedoes. That and the Hydro, which we actually didn't even use in either game, really, but it's something that you can have. You couple that with a speed boost, and you can push some of those pesky destroyers. AA defense is another one of those balancing factors. It's pretty mid, if not below average. Maneuverability feels a bit more sluggish than the other battlecruisers, but still a lot better than most battleships at the tier. You couple that with decent concealment. You've got a decent package here, but nothing that I think is ever worth $60 or $50. I know someone's just going to be just gripey about the exact cost in doubloons, but it's like 12,500 doubloons, which I think is just, all the prices are in this game. And like I've said so many times in the past, as we're going over the armor, you can see the 16 millimeter nose there. If you've got the money, by all means, spend it. If you're a British connoisseur, you know, great ship to have in your fleet, but nothing that I would go out of my way to get. You are pretty protected in your Citadel, but if you could see, a lot of that armor is just orange and blue, so you're going to be getting overmatched. You're going to be getting chunky, you know, chunked by anybody who knows how to aim at that casemate. You can see there. But like we said, you are kind of protected, so you either play this at long range or play it very close. That half, it's a turtleback, but it's one of those weird ones that, you know, you'll get pretty mashed at medium ranges. So either get in close or stay at range. But yeah, that is the resistance, guys. Copy, paste, insert Renown at tier 6. So yeah, that's the ship. The commander, of course, is Mr. John Fisher. I don't think I inserted him in here. We were actually looking at the reload, but essentially the same build I'm running on the Renown. So if you want to check that out. It also says reloader here, and this is what I was looking at. It has a 22.1 reload as opposed to the Renown's 23, but it's just, yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes the little icons at the end of the game are just funny, but there's the commander. I actually think I forget to go over the exact perks, but if you want to look at those, they're on the screen there. And then, of course, I do go over them in more detail in my Renown video. So sorry about that. Like I said, I'm still not feeling the best. I feel like I'm kind of floating on air because I haven't had real food in like 3 days. But yeah, there she is. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys don't have food poisoning. I need to get some food, man. Everyone, I'll try and hopefully see you guys on stream tonight. But there she is. Try to get a little cinematic shot. Hey, Aaron out. Peace.